Hello and welcome to The Regulars. I'm Stacey McGonigal.
I'm Jason Ross.
Oh my gosh, it's been a morning. I'm on a level. Pray for Jason. He may not make it.
I'm fine. Why? Because you're in destructive mode today.
I'm in
Is that
destructive mode. Yeah, I'm wearing my overalls. I'm in destructive mode. I
why? You're
dare.
ready to go to work. Overalls on. Farmer ready to go. Time to bale some hay.
I'm on a level. I'm self-aware of it and I'm just not taking any bullshit, but I think my empathy, what is it? My ability to hold empathy is not as strong today. So I might be having a soft day and just be like fighting through it is what I think I might be going through today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I just noticed your chat on the Zoom now because I was on the
Yeah.
the feed talking to people, and then
Of course.
I was like, "Can you look up, please?"
I was trying to get Jason's attention before we went live, and I was waving for what felt like a minute, and I was like, "Stacey, do not get angry at him."
I didn't have our Zoom up. I'm sorry.
I know you didn't have your Zoom up. That's your favorite thing because you love being in the chat, and so I was like, "Hello, hi."
I
Not
love
looking
our
up.
listeners. Can't say I can't.
Could you hear the tone in the messages that I was sending you?
You mean the all caps? Yeah.
I think this is a perfect day to talk about relationships. When we're both on different levels. I'm really proud of you for wearing your hair and not a hat today.
Yeah, I did it. I came full. I'm embracing it. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
I
loving it.
also put on a little bit of this stew today. Ew.
Our Mercherinos, I was wearing that this morning. And then I went, you know what? Let's dress like you're a Duggar going on a date. Let's just do it, you know? So I hope everyone enjoys my look today.
Where would a Duggar go on a date?
An ice cream
Fly
shop.
fishing. Oh. Ice cream shop, yeah.
Yipey dipies. Oh, Caitlin just said she's got her merch on too. Woo!
All right.
That's so exciting. That's so fun. Yeah, so I'm on a bit of a level today. I finished The Last Dance. That's done. I had a cry.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I finished it last night. I had a bit of a cry.
I will say this before you go too deep. So we are bringing on Nigel Downer tomorrow to break this down. Last Dance.
We're gonna break it down.
But I do want to hear your immediate thoughts.
I was emotional.
Okay.
Seeing Michael Jordan cry, I'm still thinking about it. I think he just cares about the sport so much that like the humanity of it is removed for many people who don't feel that way or weren't raised that way. But I think he pushes and is like belligerent in a way to inspire because he cares. And I think when people were saying he wasn't nice, I think that hurt his feelings. And that was really hard for me to watch.
It's so crazy, like because I see it all over the place. Like because basketball has been my favorite. Like it's the one I watch, and that's so like having all these people that are commenting on it, and this documentary seemed to raise so many different like emotions and feelings, and because sports is all about storylines, and people are like kind of into this soap opera of Michael Jordan,
right?
So it's weird watching and going, oh man, people are loving this guy a lot. I mean, like it's great because he's great. But it's also weird to see people that weren't invested into him 30 years later be like, wow, this guy's great. Because everyone's like, there's all this surprising stuff. All that information was most of it was publicly known.
What do you mean?
What was happening? People are like, oh my God, can you believe this? Like he punched Steve Kerr in practice and stuff. It's like people knew that kind of stuff back then. Like they were like, Michael Jordan is this guy.
I think this is a massive takeaway where it's like a lot of the lore around Michael Jordan was like put to bed. I thought like they were like, that didn't happen, or that was just like, there also wasn't like social media. What do you mean?
That's true. There wasn't all the like the stuff that goes on now with it, which is crazy. But like, yeah, the one thing that there was this guy that put out on social media yesterday about how they missed a thing in the end of the documentary. And I thought the same thing when it ended, because in the end it goes, you know how they always go, this is where they are now. This is where they are now. Like they all got disbanded. And then they're like, why did they not button it? I guess I should say Ron Tite. He's the one that kind of put it out there. But I was thinking the exact same thing. I'm like, how did they not say, and they haven't won a championship since? Like they were going for a rebuild. They're like, we did the right thing, but it's like, well, Bulls were it's been since '98 since you've won anything. So
That's kind of crazy.
how's
Well,
your
maybe
rebuild going?
because maybe that's like putting salt in a wound. Like, why do it? Why be like, and they've sucked ever since?
Most documentaries sort of end like that, though. It's like I don't think that's salt in the wound. I think
I
that's
think it's
like the
completely.
Bulls were great. Jordan was great. The management, who they kind of put as a little bit like the evil
Well,
overlords
they
in this
are.
documentary, a little bit. So if they put that out there, and then they're like, "Well, guess what, evil overlords, you were wrong. You shouldn't have disbanded because your rebuilding that you got into, well, obviously didn't work because it's
Yeah,
30 years later and
but
you
I
haven't won
also
anything."
think like maybe this doc, or maybe they thought like this documentary was not about like poo-pooing the current players of the team. It was just to show a point in
Oh,
time.
you think that insults the current players? I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah. Just looking out for feelings. You know what? There's 30 teams, 29 of them lose. So you gotta every year there's only one winner.
There's only one. I'll tell you, I had a bit of a cry there, and then I watch or listen to a very sad, just a very very sad WTF.
Oh, I saw you put that up on your stories. Who was the guest?
There was I'm gonna make sure to put this all in the descriptor below because I feel like everyone should watch this. But Lynn Shelton, who is a director, writer,
Yeah.
creator, so a
Oh,
partner
right.
of Mark Maron, tragically passed, not from COVID, but anyways, so she just like sort of collapsed, and then there was underlying issues, I guess, that they didn't. Oh, I don't know enough of the information, but anyways, was partners with Mark Maron.
Mark Maron. He addressed this on a podcast.
He on WTF, which is an incredible podcast. I mean, it's like the podcast. If you're not listening to it, what are you doing? But he from a rare blood disorder. That's what she passed of. But she sort of collapsed and then passed away. So I guess on WTF they'll re-air, or Mark Maron will re-air episodes if he has had guests on. And so he says like, so you can remember them at their like brightest and their, and so he met her in 2015 and then they ended up getting together, and like he just describes her as like the big love, like his big love.
Wow.
The intro before the archive episode, which is when they first met, it's really heartbreaking. And I had a big cry about that last night too. So deeply sad.
Wow, you're really getting in. So Last Dance, emotional, and then right into this podcast.
Well, the
emotional.
podcast first, I was like in my house, and then I was just puttering about, and then it was like, oh, this came up on my feed, and I was like, okay, I gotta listen to this. And let me tell you, was not ready. Jan, Two Little Sammy says, I can't bring myself to listen to that. It's too sad. It is, and it is so raw and vulnerable, and really, really touching. It might be worth.
Well, this maybe explains a bit of the level today. Then you went through it last night.
I am not on a level because of that.
You're the one that you said you were on a level when you came on the podcast.
I know I'm not on a level because I had a heartfelt moment and was deeply sad for somebody, but
But you went through 2 emotional journeys last night, so it could be a bit draining.
No, don't even with me on that. I'm on a level today
because anything on you.
Because this small business requires a leader.
Okay.
I was just like, Jason, we got to get our shit together. Unrelated, but anyway, so sad. So, it was a good listen, hard listen, but important listen. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you ever, because I do that, like, I remember the last thing I watched like that was Waco. And when I saw it, I have to like cleanse my mind before I go to bed. And what I mean by that is like watch something, because I can't just go to sleep after something like that.
And
so
I've
got to watch something else that is like, okay, I can't go to bed now.
I did watch something quite funny last night, which was Tom Henry, who's an incredible comedian, his special, which is on Crave, 66 Jokes. It's very funny.
Oh, yeah. See, I got to do something like that afterwards.
It's a really great special, and I highly recommend. Also, This is another little plug. Two Little Sammys has a new video out, and we should all be going and rushing to her Instagram at Two Little Sandwiches and checking out that new video. Mm-hmm. It's very good.
You should just be following her because like there's so many like Jen makes delicious looking things.
Not even delicious looking. I have been
I haven't been able to taste any of them.
I have been a very honored recipient of a Two Little Sandwiches delivery, and it could make you cry. They're delicious. She makes cornbread.
Nice.
But the title of it is very punny for those who love puns. Corn
Hub.
From away. Corn hub. That would have been great. That would have been great. She also has some great cookies. She just had cookies in the freezer. So it's always nice to wake up to a Two Little Sammy's post where I'm like, oh, I need to go grocery shopping. But we are here today because we got some relationship cues, topics.
Oh, great.
Yeah, I'm ready to break these down, especially being on the level that I'm on. I'm excited to argue with you for the next 50 minutes.
That's what this is. Okay,
No,
this is great. This is perfect.
Did you see the video I made about your... Oh, I want to talk about that before we get in. We had your lovely wife on our Instagram being like, I wanted to help him.
She did. Well, because she doesn't hear it because she doesn't get to listen to the podcast because she's got to take care of Charlie while it goes on. And so I guess she just assumed that I didn't tell people. Yeah, she tried to cut my hair.
I know. We know the story. Also, I want to say I was playing around last night and I have some new frames and some new images that are going to be popping up on the live stream. And I don't know if you guys like them, let me know. I made some things last night. Okay, so here's the first one. Ooh, look how special and amazing. If you're listening to this, you can watch at youtube.com/theregulars to see what I do when I'm sad. I turn to internet programs. Okay, so
this almost looks like our baseball card or something.
Do you like it?
Yeah.
What else would our baseball poses be?
I love this a lot. I'm going to just do that all day. Okay.
Shauna says it's very bright and cheery and she loves the vibe. Yeah.
I'm seeing your reactions delayed. It's very funny to see, I would just throw the ball and you're like,
Yeah. Shayla says that we're cute and I'm going to let it land. So Jason, okay, so we have a couple of different topics and also obviously we have our chat. So if you guys, what are you laughing at?
Because we missed the obvious. There's a hoop in the background. Maybe they're basketball cards.
Oh, yeah. Listen, you're never going to get the right thing from the regulars.
Because in our actual baseball cards, there would still be a basketball net and an archer's bullseye in the back for some reason.
I'd be eating a sandwich unaware that there was a photo shoot that day. I'd be like,
our baseball card would be us in the dugout for sure.
Did I ever tell you that story about when I was on the volleyball team? And
no, I've heard the soccer one a bunch, but never the volleyball.
So the volleyball team I was on, and my friend Audrey, she was an incredible player. She's in the chat. We played together. But I thought I was a good player. I thought I had a good serve. I was a good player. My coach had a quelle surprise problem with me because my attitude. But whatever, he was short. And I was like, try and jump, you idiot.
I feel like every story of your childhood starts like this. This person, well, they had a problem with me, my attitude, whatever.
Audrey said I had a killer serve and you bet your ass. So, but my coach had a problem with me. And I think I don't know. But anyways, he would bench me all the time. And I got really upset by that. So, and he would just bring me on to serve and then he'd get me off the court. And I was pissed about that. So I started bringing...
Your specialty, what you are is you're a Judd Bushler or a Steve Kerr. Just put you out there to shoot the threes.
Yeah. Hello.
Role player.
So I... oh my God, do we have Jacqueline on the... Okay, Jacqueline, which is Audrey's sister, and she's an incredible singer. She's in the chat today. She goes, I absolutely had the same coach as you guys, and I can confirm I wanted to jump him. Yeah, he was an idiot. So anyways, I started bringing elaborate meals to eat on the bench during games. Like sandwiches.
You have told me this story before.
Sandwiches with huge buns.
He's told me this Stage days.
Yeah, huge buns. And then our favorite was I had candy. We were eating candy on the bench. And one of the players, Audrey knows her name. We won't say her name. And she got really mad and like stormed off and smacked all my candy off the bench. And I was like, ugh. And I was like, oh, okay. And then I had to like, you just saw me picking up all my candy. He hated me. And I was like, I will mentally ruin you. This was before therapy.
I had the same with my basketball coach, who I think really thought he was one of these guys like, you got potential. Just keep blowing it. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Because I would show up and I would go on with they would call me in and I'd put on a costume and go. But my costume would be subtle. So it's like the ref and the other team would be like, I don't know what these guys are all like laughing about or figuring out. But I'd be like, I would just find these big like Kurt Rambis sunglasses or something, but like poke the sunglasses out and be like, great, here we go.
See, this is why we're friends. When someone goes, you're not going to do that, I go, okay, I'm not going to do that, but I am going to do something. So but buckle up.
Can you get mad if I walk out in a wig and I start playing? Because it's not, I'm playing, like I'm doing everything, but it's like that little poke because he's like, I know what you're doing. The other team, no clue.
Oh, yeah.
And the refs, no clue. People in the stands, if we're on a away trip, no clue.
I love a little poke. Never met one I didn't like. I'll tell you that. Oh, I can't do that? That's amazing. Oh, I won't do that. I won't do that.
And then he's like, you got to choose snowboarding or basketball. And I was like, see you later.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was pretty mad.
Well, okay. I mean, that tracks. Okay, so do we want to get into some relationship cues?
Yep.
Okay, great. All right.
These are ones that people sent in from the chat. They're just like to our Instagram.
To our Instagram, which I recommend we all follow. Okay, so let's get into it. I was worried. And also, like, I'm going to make these anonymous because no one, like, said. None of these are, like.
Oh, sure.
None of these are, like, so personal that I'm like, oh, no.
But also, if you're like in the chat and you're like, oh, that's mine, and I want people to know, just let us know in the chat and be like, that was mine.
Yeah, we'll happily do it. Okay. Okay, so first of all, how do you think you are in relationships?
Terrible. Well, I mean, like, terrible. I think I'm good, but like, there's,
That's funny to me.
I always want to be better.
Do you?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that's a joke. Like, I think I'm good in relationships, but like, we're going through a pandemic right now and we've got a little 4-year-old running around. So there might be debate.
Okay. So here's the first question. And,
can you hear the car alarm going off?
Yeah, they're ready. They're ready for, okay. So the first one, someone has requested to be anonymous. So I'm going to respect that.
Okay, great.
I love how like people have car alarms. Like, what are you doing? Do you think we want to steal your Honda Civic? Get out of here with it.
Also, just like, has that ever thwarted a stolen car ever?
Yeah. Oh no, an alarm on an expensive thing. Guess I better not.
Plus, it's all become like second nature to us now because like that alarm was going off right outside my house. Did I go check to see if that was my car?
No. Exactly. Exactly.
You guys want to steal my car? It's right out front the house.
Like, what if someone's
and I'm not going to check.
No, like it's the same mentality of like someone's going to murder you, and you go, wait, don't, and they go, oh, okay, sorry about that. I just assumed today was it for you. Okay, fair enough. Thank you. Okay, so this is the first question, and I relate to this like obviously so much. My question is, do we think men are intimidated by funny women? I can't decide whether this is making my life easier or harder, but I'm feeling like it's making it harder. I am just incapable of playing it cool. I honestly have never...
You're going to disagree on this one, guarantee you.
I 100% know. I've never felt more seen in that message because yes, they are.
No, they're not.
Go F yourself. Men, okay.
But okay, so then what do we mean by like? I think I didn't even think about the word intimidated. But like, is that an attractive person or attractive quality in a person?
Okay.
Yes.
So
maybe I'm arguing for a different thing.
So you and I have, thank you, botting Jay. Yeah, exactly. He is wrong. So Jason, you and I have worked together for many years. Okay. Have you ever seen a man after a show come up to me and like give me the business?
Okay, but
Yes or no?
in
Yes or no?
in my defense, I've said
No.
that hasn't happened to me, but you're like, yes, it has.
Yes, it has. Because yes, it has. Because and you know that it has because there have been sometimes where you're like, get
Oh,
me out
but
of
you
here.
don't think it has happened to you? I would say it has happened
No,
to
you're
you.
just saying that.
No, I'm not just saying that. I'm not just saying that at all.
Okay. Okay. Sure.
I'm not just saying that at all. And I can't remember specific incidences of like who these people were.
Right, I
But I
can.
for sure
And
remember
I
like
can.
Stacey might walk backstage and be like, yeah, right.
That's not even true. And also
Maybe
like, maybe not. 100% not. Absolutely not. Men, I think a really funny, confident woman is intimidating to a lot of men because that stirs up something in them that makes them feel insecure. Now, here's the thing. The man or the partner you end up with who accepts you for who you are and supports you and encourages you, that's the big love. But unfortunately,
For sure.
if you're like funny and confident, there's a lot of, I feel like, games that men play with women like that to make sure that they feel.
I think it's a generalization. Well, okay, we're going to talk in general statements for sure, because that's the way life. That's the way we're going to have to deal with like generalizations of it all. Because
yes, this is generally.
I agree with Jay on this one, which is very nice. But also like Claire putting in, I think it's the same guys that are intimidated by women that are smarter than them. So it's like, is it? Because you define yourself, well, one of the definitions of yourself will be like you are a humorous person. So that's also what you're
humorous. Okay, when did I start reading? When did I get a library card? Humorous.
David Sedaris, Stacey McGonigal, same Amy Sedaris, same people, all the same people.
Jan says, yes, Stacey, I knew Sherm was a good guy when he didn't feel the need to be funny or funnier than me. And that's what's important. And he's still funny. But I will say this:
what?
Sherm's insane. He's the best.
I saw some videos this week. Sherm's pretty funny.
He's hilarious. But that's the thing is that I feel like if this question is from a woman, like I wish I could talk to myself when I was in my 20s, and I was like, don't change a thing about yourself to accommodate any man, because he's insecure and he's trying to keep you down. He's trying to like chop you down.
Haley puts out that point of like, I think it makes them insecure because they can't orchestrate a social group atmosphere. Okay.
Well, I also think it takes like a really, and like this is the thing. Yesterday, I think it was Elizabeth who said like, I'm too much and I hope my boyfriend doesn't find out. And it's like, you're not too much. Like, I mean, that goes unless you're like smashing a pint glass in front of a cab and you're like, let's party. And it's like, okay, maybe pump the brakes.
Wait, is that too much?
I mean, in the right context, it's never correct. No, but I'm saying like, I can only speak from my perspective as someone who's like very loud, very like when I walk into a room, no one's going, is Stacey here? Like we know the answer. And I think that it takes a person to not want to chop that down, but to support it and encourage it. Not encourage it, but to support it and like, and not feel like they need to bring me down to make themselves feel superior.
Yeah.
Which I think is often the case.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
I also want to make sure that, yeah, it totally makes sense. I also want to make sure that Snake King never changes his names, because then we won't get things from Jen Caruana like lines like, I also agree with Snake King.
Snake King can just never change. I feel it's an insecurity that sprouts in men that they think they're not funny when a woman tells a joke. I think it shows an insecurity or like they need, like they're lesser than. I think it's like,
Yeah. So what's the question is this is like, is it hard to be, do you find yourself not being approached if you put out there your
I don't think I'm
funny side?
Well, here's the thing. I personally don't think I'm ever approached at all. I think I'm too intimidating. I'm sure it like happens, but like
that might happen to do with like the not being, it's not the funny thing.
What?
I'm just trying to picture you at the comedy bar and someone coming up to you, because if someone came up to me, like, what do you want?
You're saying it's not the funny thing, it's because I'm intimidating. Well, that's the thing. I am intimidating,
but that's not because of your humor.
But if I was a guy,
you're Stacey McGonigal, be like, what do you want? What do you want?
If
You
I
want
would,
to get a beer?
but here's the problem. I'm also not confident in relationships. I'm like, you love me? Like, I got my whole can of worms. But I'm saying that I'm someone who is confident and maybe brash or brass. Like I will rip you a new one. I like don't stand for bullshit. But for some reason I have to apologize for that. When a man who would be like that, they'd be like, man, damn, he's confident. Whoa, he's great. Like there is unfortunately, there shouldn't be, but there unfortunately is a thing where like men, it's off-putting my energy, I think, to some men. And I have no time for them. Let's name names.
I
No, I'm kidding.
was gonna say I'm not gonna fight against these arguments because I don't want to.
No, don't. I'm asking you to have that conversation, but I also think it's interesting. Like this is a conversation for two. This isn't me being like men are fucking terrible. Like I
Oh, I
really
know.
enjoy men. I like kissing them. Their butts are fun. Like everything about them, I'm there for.
Cowboy butts.
Cowboy
Yeah.
butts. But also like I think when you're in your 20s and you're less assured in your footing of who you are, then you tend to like contort and twist because you're uncomfortable with your power. I truly think. And then you get into your 30s and you're like, wait a second, I'm a powerful freaking queen. How even dare you?
Yeah.
Jason's so scared. But I'll end it.
I'm
I'll
always
end it
afraid.
on this.
I'm terrified of these conversations.
No. We're gonna have them, and it's fine. And you're my friend. And we talk about this all the time. But I also think one thing also is being like in comedy in particular, and I know that this is probably in every freaking job that a woman faces, but like as a comedy instructor, teacher, the crushes that people get are never on the women. I never leave my class being like, they have crushes on me. But like, and again, these are adult classes. Everyone's an adult, whatever. But like, no one's like,
This is you teaching the teen class.
yeah, the teens, the 17-year-olds.
Nobody's crushing on me.
No one's freaking even crushing on me. No, I'm going to get fired now. But I'm saying that like men are idolized by the men and the women have crushes on them. And not to like, I don't want to generalize like sexuality, whatever. I mean, like that's been like everyone has a crush on them. Women, the men are like, freaking prove it to me, you know?
Yeah. So, because it's the reason why I can't speak to these conversations because I haven't been through. Obviously I'm not experiencing the side of it of being a woman. So, but I do like. It feels like I know people in the community that really appreciate, idolize everything that you're saying, but to some of we've got amazing ladies in the comedy community and I feel like they get looked up to, but like
But
I don't
you're
know what
also
your
someone, yeah, but you're also a
funny is.
person who's like respecting them. Like you're our friend and you like, you
Well, I don't
listen
want
to
to name
us
names,
bitch
but
and
it seems
complain.
like there's a lot of ladies that are like, people are like, she's the best.
Yeah, but you have this like pure gaze on it. I'm just saying that like, I'm like, because oftentimes we'll be talking and I'm like, what? Are you nuts? This is what they're going through. And you're like, really? And I'm like, Jason.
I believe you 100%.
No, I know, but I know that. And I think that like, you know, but I think my advice for this person who has sent the question, I would say it is difficult. And I hope that I wish the circumstances were different where that isn't something you're going to come across. My advice that you haven't asked for, but I'm hopefully confidently will give you is if you can, if you're, you know, younger or whatever, if you can just like hold the confidence in yourself to not sway who you are, then you're going to find the right people in your life. You just will.
Yeah.
And that includes friends, that includes lovers, but it's like really trust your instincts. Your instincts are never wrong.
That's great. Because I think, and this is again, not my area of expertise, but like I will say, it sounds like it's also, you know how we talked about, Stacey, your Tinder picture, don't put out the one where you're like, it's a beauty shot. Put out the one that's Stacey.
Yeah.
Because it's like, you're only going to attract the people that you'd want to attract and hang out with anyways.
And this is the thing, right? Like Jan says, a lot of the men who find funny women intimidating aren't in comedy and they are the bigger issue. And 100%.
Now I get it. Yes, I've seen that with my own eyes in very terrible ways. And now I'm glad, because I'm like, I was thinking of like all of our friends being like, no, their friends know what's up, I think. But now that makes complete sense.
Yeah, men who are not funny. Okay.
And I could be wrong about some of the people in the community, but like I've seen
Well, let's
terrible
let's
and
get
heard
outside of the
terrible
comedy
stories.
community because
Yeah.
it's very insular. But I will say in general, I think confident women are men are intimidated by them, and then they do full fuckery because they're insecure, and then they project all their shit onto you, and then you find yourself going, I'm too much, I shouldn't let him know, oh no, I'm not comfortable, and then you're like, wait a second, why am I like realizing this guy's a dud, he's a full squid, and no thank you. Also, just because you
Yeah.
watched like, what is it, Happy Madison, doesn't mean you're the life of the party, I can assure you.
Happy Madison.
Whatever it's called, Billy Madison.
It's Happy Madison Productions.
Hell
So
yeah, well I got that.
any of those movies.
I swear to God, if I
I
see,
will say my brother is, and everyone has one of these people in the group. My brother is the king of quoting movies and quoting them like in the he finds like the weirdest lines, and you're like, oh yeah, that's from them. Anyways,
That's the
I think my
best.
brother's very, very funny.
But I will tell you this, Happy Gilmore, thank you, Haley. But I will say, how many men on Hinge are like, don't get me started on The Office, and I'm like, cool, Brad, bye, bye, Brad, bye, Brad.
You know what would have been a better joke?
Yeah. Have you ever heard of Bill Burr? Yeah, I have.
Because he tells it like it is.
My friends, like when I was like,
Bill Burr's great. I hope that didn't sound like an insult to Bill Burr.
no, but I'm just saying, like men, like it's just so annoying to me, like men who are like, those losers.
Did you used to get that a lot? Like this isn't because I love when people talk to me about comedy and stuff like that, and I love even talking to people after shows and things like that. But in your life, when you start doing this, and everyone obviously like sketch suggestions and stuff like that. But then in Second City, they're like, what would make this one joke funnier? And then I guess that's fine. It's still fun. But I always feel like it's that episode of Friends when like Ross leaves the tip at the end because he's like, oh, he didn't leave a tip, so he adds like $2, and then the dad comes back and he's a total dick, but he's like, cool, you want to add $2 and be the hero? Write the rest of it, and then you add your
100%.
$2.
There's nothing more infuriating.
Although
to
I
me.
say that and it makes me sound like I'm mad about anybody approaching, but I'm not at all. I actually enjoyed talking about those things. But.
No, it's interesting to me because I feel like, and this might just be my journey, but I feel like my performance gets like reduced to something so ridiculous. Like I love your drunk characters. Cool. Thanks. I like when you play
Your
drunk.
characters are pretty good.
I remember when we did this sketch called Dance. What was it called? Dance Club? Yeah, Club Signals. And
Club Signals.
so many times, pervy fucking full losers would come up to me and be like, "You got some good moves," and I was like, "That's your fucking takeaway? I just destroyed that
That
whole
was
show."
actually my takeaway. I was
and
like,
your
wow, Stacey can dance.
I can't. Listen, make no mistake, she got moves. That sketch happened because Nigel said I couldn't dance, and I was like, okay. Well, you were in it. And then that was the improv. And then Jason was like, let me just steal the show in the middle here.
I got pulled in.
Yeah.
I got pulled into that scene, and I was like, okay.
Oh, you got pulled into it?
I did get pulled into that.
Screw
I'm
you.
not upset about it. That's it was fun doing that scene. That was a great scene.
Janelle says men also love to say how their humor is politically incorrect, and it always just means this white guy likes making racist jokes. Yeah, 100%. 100%. Anyways, it's so true. Men being like, if you can't handle
here's
the
the thing,
heat.
and that I don't think this is a gender thing, but in our relationship, like my relationship with my wife, it's like when we bring stuff up, it's like maybe I shouldn't be talking about this too much, but it's like I like an A to B sort of thing. I'm like, here's the problem, so let's figure out what the
100%.
solution is, and then it's like we don't need to figure out the solution. We just need to like, and not a bad way, but like let's have emotions about it and let's talk about it.
Well, that's
and
the
I
thing.
figured that out now. So I was like, no, don't just go, well, A to B. Just do this. We'll do this.
Well,
do
because
this.
it's
And
never
like,
just.
no, it's not that at all.
It's because it's never A to B. A relationship is never
Yeah.
A to B. It's never about the dishes. It's about 6 months before the dishes and the feeling of being not appreciated. That's what it's really about. So there's nothing more infuriating than a man going, and I'm only saying men because like that's my jam, but like partners in general, I feel like, when they're like, well, let's just solve it. It's like, cool, let's sit down and talk for 3 hours because I got a year of shit that those dishes represent. So great.
I bring that up too, though, because like this last question, which didn't seem, I don't know if we answered it, but it doesn't seem like there's an A to B sort of like answer to Are guys intimidated by funny women?
They are. I mean, that is
I
the
guess
answer.
so the answer is yes, but then like, is there a solution?
The
And there's not,
solution,
right? It's just like be yourself and like fuck those guys.
I mean, that's the thing. And that's what's really hard is that as a strong woman, I think that for me, I look in a partner for someone who's strong as well. I find that interesting. I like someone who's witty, that keeps my mind going. That's like, I have rapport. That's why I find myself, or I have found myself, dating men that are just like not emotionally equipped, because really what I was interested in was something superficial. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm like, oh, let's just like keep the jokes going. But really, like, my advice is men are intimidated by strong women, but you just have to be confident in yourself. How do you get confident in yourself? You do a lot of self-work, therapy, surrounding yourself with like the right people, making mistakes, but not like, falling down into the emotional swamp so you can't get back out. Like, learn to love yourself so that you have standards.
There's also that thing about like, I don't believe it's fully true, but it's after school specialists of like the bullies are the ones that are most scared. If you just stand up to them, they're fine, which isn't always true. Then they're going to beat you down far.
I'm a
But
bully.
it is like
100%.
but I will say like a lot of the times that's probably just a self-defense mechanism, probably for those people.
100%.
Just like, yeah,
100%.
I think so, I forget who put it in the chat, so I apologize. But like someone talking about them just needed to orchestrate the party, like being that person, and then it's like, well, if your partner starts doing that, then what's my identity? Oh no, maybe that's something that it is or something.
I mean, totally. And I also think like, from my own experience, it's like you have to keep your own life. Like you have to keep growing independently to be a good partner for somebody else. You have to. You can't like be in a relationship and just become that person's person,
Sure.
Okay, here's another topic. Let's talk about ghosting. So one of the writers, Inners, was dating someone. It was going great. Like he professed that he loved her, told her she was the one. Then he went on a trip and didn't speak a single word since he came back. And to make things worse, they work in the same place. Okay, let's talk about ghosting.
Or work romances.
Both.
Troubles.
Listen.
Then you got to come back to work.
I mean, I've dipped a toe in both of those situations.
So let's talk about ghosting.
Let's talk about ghosting. Ghosting happens all the time, and I think it's someone's inability to like, even if, here's the thing, when someone's like, I love you, I want to be with you, and then they ghost you, it doesn't, maybe they weren't lying. It doesn't mean that they were lying to you.
I don't think they were lying. I think we've all been in situations where we're like, oh my God, this is amazing. And then like, if you don't see the person for a month because they go on a trip or whatever, then it's like, that was a time.
But it's weak.
Which sounds terrible, but I mean, like, I think that's human. That's probably a human.
But the weak thing is not coming to terms with that and having that conversation of like, I'm not ready for this. And listen, the idea of closure is like, is we all want closure, but it's never going to it's never going to like heal the wound. You know what I mean? Like when you're like, I just want to know what I did. I want to know why we can't work out. It's like that answer is not going to help you heal. It's not.
No.
And then
it shouldn't make you question yourself in your next relationship. Oh my God, am I doing it again? Like, so yeah.
Right. And that's again, the whole like, am I too much? Which I think women hold, and we need to get rid of that because we're not. Right. Kayla says, I feel like ghosting after one date isn't that big of a deal. I agree. Still rude.
Yeah.
But after spending a significant amount of time with someone, then ghosting completely, it's bad. Agreed. So, that is someone who is scared of confrontation or unable to communicate, and essentially you don't want that person in your life.
Yeah. See, I don't know about like, I've been with my wife long enough that I haven't done any of like dating apps weren't around at that point, but it seems like the world now is like dating apps. Ghosting happens after 1 or 2 dates, I imagine, all the time. Cause it's like, oh, we just go out and we realize not compatible. It's almost like a vending machine being like, I'll try this chip. No, chip.
I have completely ghosted. Like. I have completely ghosted people on apps 1,000%.
It seems like that's what they're built for.
Right.
It's
but
like, try it out. If you don't like it, move on to the next, and nobody cares, nobody hurt.
But I can say this too. I'm also like very sensitive because I'm a bully. So I'm so sensitive. So, and again, I recommend therapy. I think it's freaking amazing because you learn how to like communicate with not only other people but yourself. And I was like, oh, I'm scared to really put myself out there. And that is what I think people are ghosting with too. People who are able to go like, hey, I had a great time with you, but like this just isn't for me. Like that takes a lot of strength that I don't know if I had that I would have.
But going back to the original question too of like, what's the solution? If I'm going back to my A to B thing, it's like, first of all, we don't know how long these people dated, right? They just said we were
A
dating
few
for
months. A few months.
a few months. And then it was like, I went on vacation and came back and was like, no talk. And they work
Completely
in the
ghosted.
same office or
Yeah.
whatever it is.
Now here's the thing. That person,
I feel like you approach them for sure. And just be like, what's up? What's up? What's up, dude?
not to rekindle, because that is a person that cannot commit to you emotionally. And if they can't communicate with you, you're doomed. If you can't communicate honestly and like very vulnerably with your partner, then no thanks. Then absolutely no thanks. But I will say, if you're going to shit where you eat, which listen, I've had a couple of meals, you have to just, unfortunately, you have to keep that professional, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree.
But that doesn't mean you can't have that conversation with them and go, what the fuck is the matter with you?
Yeah, you can still, yeah. I think that's 100% true. I was trying to think like, because I was saying like, I don't know dating apps because that was after my time sort of. I'm like way before my time was like.
Stop saying way before your time.
Well, I'm thinking like pioneer times and stuff. Like imagine, like what do you do when you're like living on a village and there's only 6 of you and you're like, wow.
Oh, well, I guess if we're talking about pioneer times, I guess women were only supposed to speak when spoken to. So I guess they just had to kind of hold it all together.
Okay. Go right there. This bit's dead quick.
Kayla says, I was also on the receiving end of someone deciding not to go on another date, and it wasn't amazing, but better than being ghosted. Agreed. Here's the thing. I don't know if I'd rather be ghosted or have someone go, you're not for me. You're not for me. I would be like,
you say like, it'd be better just to tell me, but then they tell you, you're like, oh really? Oh really? How am I not for you?
that's like when you have a partner who goes like, if I'm like, hey, when I ask you like, what are you doing on your phone? Like, is that annoying? And someone goes, yeah, it is. And I go, huh. Instead of going, I have that information. Thank you. I go, in my mind, I go, okay, so are we going to fight about this? Am I going to be mad about this? Like you have like, I mean, we have emotions.
I feel like, but that started as like, that's not, if you're starting a story, you start it with once upon a time. You don't start it with, so what the fuck are you doing right now? So like, I think what I'm getting at is instead of saying, what did you do how did you say it?
Like, let's just say you were on your phone. If I was like, hey, who are you texting? And I'm only saying that because I'm nosy. I'm not saying like, hey, you can't use your phone. I'm like not about that at all.
Yes, but that's already worded a bit differently. I think if you put specifics to it and be like, are you texting someone right now? Or are we watching the movie or whatever? Like,
yeah,
what's happening here? That's different than being like, is it annoying when I'm on my phone? Or
listen, I've got a long way to go.
Because that feels like that's a bigger issue. That's like, you're already saying you're on your phone too much and you better get off it because pay attention to me.
But it's not even that for me. It's because I'm so nosy. I'm like, what's going on over there? What are you guys talking about? And that's just.
So this question has turned into like, this is about you now.
No, I'm just saying a ghosting is like, here's the thing. Ghosting is, do you want the answer? You already have the answer. They're not talking to you. That's your answer.
There's a difference too of like trying to find out why. Because you're right. It's not going to help you out. But if you're working with that person, I think clarity is probably still okay. Like to go up and be like, yeah, well, I guess, are we done? Like,
well, you have to, I think you have to make that decision. Do you want to be with this person? I don't think you should. They don't respect you. But have we all gone down that path with someone who's not so respectful? Of course we have. But like if this was my friend, I would go, I don't know what information you would need to get from them because you already have it. They're a loser. They're like a go after a few months saying, I love you, I want to be with you, you're the one, and then never hearing from you. This person's a loser. Yeah. So like, if you want to have a conversation with them, you're not going to get an answer. You can just be like, I don't know what happened here. Like, this isn't for me. And like, let's just keep it professional.
Yeah, because there is a question of like what happened here. Because if it wasn't like, you're the one, this is so amazing. Oh my God, you know what? I'm just gonna go to Vegas with some boys and then I'll be back. And then they come back and they're like not talking to you. They're gone.
Yeah, get rid of them. Now, I wouldn't easily get over it, but I would be hoping if I was in the circumstance.
Let's be honest. It's very easy to. This is the whole conversation when
Oh
I was talking
yeah.
about with me and my wife. There's a lot of like, well, here's the easy solution, but actually living through those solutions is not easy.
I'll tell you this. I have dated people that I've worked with, okay? And worked, I mean like in the community of comedy, right? And there have been a few times where years and years later that I have had conversations with those people and I've been able to finally articulate what it was like and what was lacking. And I'm like so thankful I had those moments. I wish I could have kept that rational approach the years prior.
You can't in the moment.
Exactly. But saying to them, you didn't treat me right. I wasn't respected. I didn't deserve that behavior. And like, you're lucky we're friends now because
But they probably admitted that when you said that, right?
they did. Yes. And then
So what it is then also on their side of it, if you would have said it even rationally back then, I bet you they wouldn't have the hindsight to go, because you're in
Exactly.
it. They wouldn't be like, what are you talking about? That's where it's going to come from, because like they're
Yes.
also in the moment thinking, no, you're wrong. No, you're wrong.
And they might be
You're wrong.
fearful of conflict and like maybe their fear is like being a bad person, which is just like so
And
irritating.
sometimes perspective of situation is just different. So nobody's wrong, but it's like you saw an incident or you saw something differently. So, because that happens a lot in life with not even relationship stuff. It's just like sometimes you go, oh man, like we saw what happened there through two different lenses.
Right. 100%. I hope we answered it. But I feel like if you are going to dip a toe with like a coworker, you have to, maybe, and this is just my opinion, but it's like if you're going to do it, then like you need to compartmentalize. You really do.
Yeah.
Because that's just,
Next question. We're sitting in these questions for a long time. What's the next question? What's the next one?
Jason's over it. Okay.
I'm not over it. I think.
Is it too risque to have crushes on some of your closest friends? It's a friendship ruiner.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. Like,
It's a friendship ruiner for sure. Unless, again, you're able to like compartmentalize if it ends, I would say.
the crushes are different. That's like a celebrity crush where you're just like,
No, closest friends. If you
but
started
I'm
dating
saying
one
it's
of
the
your
same
closest,
context. It's just like
Yeah.
you go, oh man, but like, no. Although I guess I dated friends because sometimes that's the best way to do it because
I
you know
know.
you're
I've only really
compatible,
dated friends.
to a point.
I think I've only dated friends.
That's true. I don't think because wasn't doing the apps and stuff like that. So most
If
people
you
I
bring
dated
up
was
that you
probably-
haven't done the apps, I'm gonna
But
throw you in the toilet.
What I mean is like, what I mean was like in my life, I think that anybody I ever dated, I was probably hanging around before. I never was like,
Yeah.
I'm going to go on a blind date or I'm going to just whatever. Like that didn't happen. I dated people that I knew.
100%. I feel like for me, it's always been friendships. I think I can count like first dates with people I don't know on like one hand.
Yeah.
Truly.
Those must be weird as F.
I know. What are you going to do? Like, hi, oh, Brad, you're a project manager? Cool.
Here's my resume.
Yeah. Oh, you like The Office? American one, huh? Yeah. What do you do, Stacey? Oh, I'm a comedian. That must be crazy. Yeah, I guess it is. Getting up there? Yep. It's pretty nuts. Tell me a joke. Okay. I'm going to go
I
shit
did
my
a
own
speech
hand.
one time in grade 5. It was killer.
Oh, you
It
did?
was killer. It was killer.
Totally. Cool.
Like they were laughing. So I know, I get what you do. I know exactly what you do.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. So,
You want to hear something funny?
sure. Yeah.
Okay. It's a little racy.
Go on.
Offensive out the gate.
Yeah, offensive out the gate. Oh my God. Oh my God. Yeah. I just don't work well with games. I don't work well with games. I can't and I shan't. I can't. I'm just thinking about the times I've gone on dates with like strangers and I'm like, and like they've been interested in me and then I'm like, oh hey, and they're like, oh, you've gotten it twisted. I'm like, oh, have I? Okay. Here's another question. How to keep
Jameson's been opening up throughout this, and we haven't been acknowledging it at all.
what?
Too. He's really putting himself
He
out
goes,
there.
my experience is usually most of my relationships began as friendships because I like them first. It's true. That's the thing. That's my struggle on apps is like,
Mm-hmm.
I think my attraction to people, like, as much as I obviously want like a big, beefy, like lumberjack delight, the people I'm attracted to really vary. And I think it often comes down to how funny they are. What?
I was listening, but I was also reading
Kayla.
Kayla's response.
I love Kayla's
Yeah.
response. My husband and I met on Tinder, so we weren't friends first. We knew what we were there for. Bow, chicka,
And apparently it went well enough.
So we have here's another question: how to keep finances in check when you're in a long-term relationship?
Yikes.
Yeah, this is a yippee dippy for me because I've always kept my finances separate because I'm terrible at them.
Yeah, look, man, I'm not a personal finance person, as I guess a lot of guys are,
Oh,
according to
on
Tinder.
Hinge, yeah, on Hinge, they all are.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So I'm not. I don't know how to answer this question even, because like this is not.
I
It's
think
not
it.
easy.
I think again, it's okay. You have to have these conversations. It's like when we enter a small business, like Jason and I are, people are loving that I'm calling the podcast a small business. But like you have to have those uncomfortable conversations of like, what are we going to do? What's the cut? Like, what's the thing? Like, if again, it's like knowing what you want, your boundaries, and being like, am I being like financially respected? Am I the one picking up the tab? Am I the one who's going to like pay most of the rent? Like, and if you're happy to do that, tax write-offs.
Yeah, when
Jason
it
and
becomes a
I's
tax write-off,
friendship.
then you join up. Then you join together.
Yeah, that's why
And
we're friends.
truthfully, that's probably when my wife and I were like, well, maybe we should talk about each other's money or whatever, because like,
100%.
well,
My
now we have a kid.
my friend has this book called Big Conversations. I think that's what it's called, and she loves it. And that might be more
Weren't you
helpful.
just reading this? This is
No,
something you mentioned very recently.
I mentioned it recently. It's like if you're uncomfortable, it might be a good guiding post for your partner. But like I think again, it's just conversations of like, what mess are you in? What mess am I in? We love each other enough. Let's work through it.
Yeah.
I think, but finances really scare me. Okay, let's see. I think we have some more.
Rob asked a deep question because it's true. Can we control who we have crushes on? He's like, do you have
Oh,
crushes on friends? I don't know. Do you control that?
I don't think you can, and that's what's unfortunate. That's why it's like I think having feelings for someone is irrational. You're irrational because you love them or you want to be with them, and like then you do things that like you normally wouldn't do because you like this person, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so we have another question. When did Jason know Jenny was the one? You said that the first time you met her.
Um. Well, I said it in my wedding vows too because I remember this story and I don't remember how far we were into dating. And I'll say it because it was in my wedding vows, so my wife knows the story or whatever. But like, uh, I did say to like one of my closest friends, I was like at the bar and I was like, she's the one. And he goes, no. But he wasn't, he was just being a dick or whatever. But I was
Yeah.
like, so I knew, but what I'm saying is I knew then. And that was when I don't know if it was like immediate, but like I knew a long time ago. Like I knew
Right.
when we first started dating.
You knew pretty early on.
Yeah.
Okay, there's your answer. And then the same question.
Here's the thing though. How do you know she's the one? Well, I was also I think it's first like, I mean, people talk about like love yourself first or whatever, but like I
Yeah.
think I was at a point in my life where I was like also just like I was ready. Like I knew I was because I remember being at the comedy bar too, not long before I met Jenny, partying like crazy because that's kind of what we were doing at the time or whatever. But I remember my friend Anessa, who's
A
another
wonderful treasure.
wonderfully funny woman and amazing. But she was like, what are you doing now? I was like, I guess I'm going home alone. And I didn't say that in like a gross way, but I was like, because she had said, well, what do you want? I'm like, I'd love somebody to go home to now. And then so I realized in my
Jason.
life, I was like, I'm looking for that now too. So I think there is like, you say you can't control crushes, but like I think I was also like set to look for that in my life at the time.
Well, I think that you hit points in your life where you're like, okay, I'm done with this sort of bullshit. I'm tired of running. I'm tired of justifying. I'm tired of like pretending I'm not this person with this baggage, with these needs and expectations. And then you're ready to actually open up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is really getting really personal today.
Well, listen, bitch. Okay, the same question is, Stacy, describe your perfect partner. Okay. Huge dick. Okay, my perfect partner, I think needs to be, okay, Jason, I want you to describe what you think my perfect partner would be.
Great. Because it's going to be stuff we've already said before, but like,
Knowing me,
lumberjack.
knowing
Lum-
me, who would be like, this would be the perfect person for Stacy.
but we've done this before. Like the non-religious early Chris Pratt would be the perfect person, because funny, silly, stupid, doesn't care. If he's wearing a suit, it's probably a little askew because he just doesn't fucking
What?
want to do that. Well, Chris Pratt in
A
Parks and
slob?
Rec, not a slob, but Chris Pratt in Parks and Rec would not wear a suit and go. You'd be like, oh, that's a businessman. You'd be like, nah, that guy probably feels more comfortable in a different outfit.
He has a Coors Light in his pocket.
Yeah, he's got a Coors Light in his visa. You're at work and he's in a full suit and he pulls a Coors Light out. You're like, hey, man, you got those reports done? Anyways.
He comes home from work. Did you bring a beer to work?
Yeah, I brought it to work. I didn't bring it home.
Was it a joke or for real? Well, it was a joke and then it became for real. Okay.
I thought it'd be funny, but then it turned out to be I had an epiphany.
Well,
I drank a few. I had a pretty great day.
Honestly, it was a bit funny off the top just hearing about it.
So what else would that be though? Like,
I need someone who's funny. Funny is so important to me, but I also need someone who's like,
I think you need somebody with a little bit of, the word chutzpah comes to mind, but I don't want to use it. It's just like, but it is like someone that every once in a while, if you were like going off, you'd be like, okay, I think we're done. We've had enough this time around, right?
Oh, I need someone, and like, you know when people are like, I need someone to call me on my shit. Like, I don't want that, obviously. Like, I love my shit, and I just don't need it to be called out. But I do want someone who can,
who can just laugh and go, okay.
Yeah, I need someone to
laugh.
laugh.
What are we really fighting about here?
Exactly. I literally need someone to go, okay, what's really going on? And I go, I'm sad. And they go, I know. I know you're sad.
Okay.
I can't have.
You want me to go down to the LCBO, grab you a 6-pack, and then we'll come back, we'll chat it out? Or
Yeah.
Coors Light?
No. No, I do. I think I really need that. I can't. I can't. I'm too bold. But then also behind closed doors, not bold at all. I'm like, oh. So yeah. And then this person wants to be set up. So no problem. Give me
the person that sent in the question?
Give me your hinge. I'll set it up. I'll find your pics.
Well, what are they looking for?
Yeah, let us know what you're looking for. And you haven't said if I can say who it was. So, but you know who you are in the chat. So let me know. And what are you looking for?
Oh, we've already narrowed it down. I love these games. Yeah. It's somebody that's in the chat. So that narrows it down a little bit.
Exactly. Now, Jameson has asked, I posed this a bit too late in the IG message. Has anyone ever explored what their love language is? Yes, I would love to talk love languages. So it's either words of affirmation, physical touch, receiving gifts, quality time, acts of service. Which ones do you like and which ones do you do to show love?
Yikes.
Yikes? What do you mean yikes?
They all seem pretty similar. Like you spend quality time, you have in that quality time you would give words of affirmation.
No, but some people
touch,
some people show it.
And
some people show it in different ways.
Service.
I've had partners who do acts of service. But I need.
What is acts of service? Because that sounds way too formal for like.
So acts of service is like you would show someone that you love them by like mowing their lawn, giving them a coffee, making the bed, doing the laundry,
being their intern.
Right. So that's obviously not yours. So you obviously don't do actually you do acts of service.
I can be an intern, no problem.
Yeah, you actually are acts of service, I think, for sure.
I can do that.
Botting is words of affirmation and time together. I'm the same. I need words of affirmation. I also need physical touch.
Well, is there an argument like we need all five of these
We
things?
all need five, but the problem is, I think a really great thing is what do you see as love? So I need words of affirmation. I need someone
I
to
don't
go
really
like,
see gifts as love. Okay, that's an interesting one, Ashley Body.
I don't either. I love gifts. I'm always surprised by them. I'm like, if someone brings me flowers or like buys a book I was talking about, I'm like, oh my God,
But here's the
that's
difference.
so wonderful.
Like if an important day passes,
No,
say
no,
your
no, no. Wait,
birthday,
no, we're
or
not talking birthdays. It means like someone in like if someone
totally.
who might be acts of service. So you might have someone who does tons of acts of service for you, does the dishes, drives you places, gets your oil changed for you. But what you're lacking from them in the relationship is words of affirmation. He never really says he loves me. He doesn't say he wants to be here. We don't have those conversations where he's like, I'm so in love with you. You're the person for me. Like, so some people in those relationships will find that lacking. Like, he doesn't communicate with me, but he gets me a coffee. But that's how he's showing you he loves you.
Yes, and I agree with all of that. It's just the gift thing though, too, is like
Oh my
picture
God.
it is no, but picture it's a Second City opening night.
That
And
is different.
it's not different because it's still a gift.
Oh
It's
my
like it's
God.
that's still a way to be
Botting.
like, I could be wrong, but like it feels like if you didn't if you were dating somebody and they didn't there wasn't like something left backstage for you, and then you don't have to, it's not whatever, but
We're
like
not talking about fucking birthdays. But
how warm is
Jason,
your heart when you get backstage and it's like
Jason,
they gave me a card as a
Jason,
gift.
Jason, we are not talking about birthdays and opening night gifts. We're talking about Monday through Thursday shit. We're talking Sunday shit. We're not talking, hey, it's her birthday and she's mad that I got her a gift, but that's my act of service. It's like, no. Botting says this
Okay, but
perfectly.
what if you walked into your house like and all of a sudden there just was like some sort of like weird cake or what if it was a bunch of
Weird
powdered
cake.
donuts?
Okay.
What if it's a bunch of powdered donuts sitting on your table that just said, "Hey, just thanks for being you"? You'd be like, your heart would be warmed.
But
You'd be like,
that's words
"Oh,
of affirmation. Because if I just came into my house and there was white powdered donuts, like Ashley says, if you drive me around and never say I'm amazing, I'll see you as my driver. Exactly. If I come into my house and you're like, here's some white powdered donuts, I'd be like, great. So you're Uber Eats. Like if there's no like, I love you, I want to do this because I think you're special. I want to be with you. Like any of those words of affirmation for
I think
me, then I have no time for it.
I feel like this is
Put your money where your mouth is.
yeah." But I bet if you just walked in and there was just powdered donuts, like a box right at the front door, you'd still be like, "This is pretty awesome."
Um, it wouldn't be awesome if I had a partner who didn't speak to me. So like you are obviously gifts because all you're thinking about is gifts and acts of service. So
It's
that's
not. I'm
Jason.
just saying
It
like there's five
is.
things, and I don't.
You
I'm
are.
just. I'm exploring Ashley Bodding's statement of like gifts are the only one that's not important. It was something to that effect, and I was like, "You're right. It's not as important as all the other stuff for sure. Gifts are a throwaway, but it's still nice to get them, I guess, and give them."
Only Jason, you would be like, that seems nice. I think it's stupid that we don't like it.
Yeah,
I think you like gifts. That's what you think is special. You
I
like
like to
getting
give gifts.
things. You like to give. I know. That's what I'm saying. You are acts of service and gifts.
Yeah, this is what I'm saying. Like, I got to get better at doing it again.
What do you mean, gifts?
Yeah, just stuff like that.
Well, here's the thing. It's like you got for my birthday, you sent me my favorite pizza, toppings, pizza delivered to my door. That's a huge act of service and a gift, right? Instead of being like, Stacey, we've been friends forever. You're one of my best friends.
Yeah, well, that's different.
Exactly. But that's what I know. I know that that's your act of service. My act of service is yelling at you and then going, you're my friend and I care about you, but you're being dumb.
Yeah, I'll take the pizza next time.
You son of a
You know?
bitch. No, but I think Botting goes, my family doesn't really do gifts, and it has gotten me into trouble in relationships with people who like them. I agree.
That's great.
But
So then I see where she's coming from now. See, we all come at things from a different perspective, and we watch a different. If you grew up and that wasn't a thing, and it wasn't.
are you
again like that's
are
not how
you
you show love
but
by buying a gift?
Jason,
But
you're not words of affirmation. Are you
I'm all five.
I don't think so.
I am.
No. No,
Oh,
not
I see what you're saying.
everyone's not. So it's like out of those lists, what do you like to do and what do you like to receive? When you're like, this person does this, and that's how I know they love me.
I think it's really nice to just have that sort of like check in, like the physical. Like if you're sitting there, like say you're watching TV. Let's just like I'll give her a foot massage and not just sit there
Wow.
and
That's
like
nice.
be two brains in front
I
of a
think
TV.
here's the
Just
thing. I think that
distracted.
everyone is all five. I'm not saying you're not. I'm not saying you never give words of affirmation or you never whatever. But for
Oh, I know.
me, my main one is I need to know that someone cares. I need to know that someone wants to be hanging out with me, that someone loves me, that they like being in a relationship with me. I like someone going, I could see this going further. Hey, let's move in together. Like I like having those conversations because for me, I find it validating. Where I'm like, "Oh, I've heard it and I needed to hear it." Now, do I love getting
Yeah,
a gift? Of course. But for me it's like quality time and words of affirmation are
of
so
course.
important to me.
Yes, of course. Of course, those are important things. Like, yeah.
Like
Number one is quality time.
Jan is a gift giver. She'll think of you. She'll make something very special for you, and you
Oh
feel
my God.
so thought of and taken
Yes.
care of. But like that's not her definitive quality. It's like an amazing thing where you know that she cares and you feel that, and it's very special.
Yeah, and I would also be remiss. I'm not leaving my wife out of this conversation. Like people would go backstage at Second City things, and some people would get like flowers, but I'd get like gummy candies and be like, yeah, that's what I want.
Right, and like
That's
Ashley Botting and I, we are always like, I love being your friend. I love being your friend. I love you so much. I love you so much. You know what I mean? We give each other what we need. That's what I'm saying. So it's not
yeah.
like if you're one thing, you're not something else. And
Do we have other questions for
Cirillo
this?
says I suggest everyone do the test online, and you get ranked in all 5 areas. Yeah, we have more questions.
Also, let's find that link. Where's this test?
Yes, put the link in the chat if someone has it. We would love to.
I mean, this chat's been so active today that I haven't been able
I
to follow so much. So it
know.
might have already been in there too.
Okay. So here's a question. Wanted to submit a question for today's show. I was wondering if you have any quarantine date ideas for couples living together besides going on walks and watching Netflix.
Okay.
Oh, and she also said, also thank you for continuing to make this podcast so great. I've been listening since 2017 and it's still my favorite podcast. You make me laugh so much. Thank you.
That's very
That's very
nice.
kind.
But now I feel like pressure. We got to give you something good. Got to give you a good idea.
Have sex. Okay, what? It depends.
I think that's funny because I think when people were like, when you all of a sudden quarantine started, all the comments like, high five. This is going to be so fun. And then you're like, week 7, you're like, okay, well,
Really?
we're still in pandemic mode here. It's more just about like, we're still in the pandemic. This is fucking crazy. So how do you make that fun? Because we're just doing a lot of walks and stuff. What else?
Date ideas. I've got tons. Okay, so
Oh,
here's what I love. You can treat yourself, order in some like nice food that you maybe wouldn't. I know there's a lot of like, I don't know where you're at location wise, but like in Toronto, there's like cute little restaurants that'll do like share plates and things like that. And then like you can get a nice bottle if you drink, a nice little bottle of like Prosecco or something kind of fancy, or make a cocktail, put some music on and just like actually set up a dinner. Because how often are you sitting in front of the couch, shoving food into your face, like from the coffee table, right? So like sit somewhere,
yes.
make it nice, like, and put music on. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, totally. And I was gonna say this too, like make it so it's like you're going out somewhere. This is Stacey's gonna hate this. I already know. And that's fine.
If you say fucking paint lounge in your house, although I would do a paint night with my erotic paint by
Although
numbers.
fuck yes, paint lounge. I wasn't even thinking that, but
Put
just
on a
do
Bob
some painting
Ross.
together.
Put on Bob Ross, 2 canvases.
Oh, and get just canvases are probably pretty easy to get. Get some paints.
Yeah.
You know?
And do a Bob Ross.
That'd be a fun time. I was gonna say, I think, and I'm not sure some if and it's gonna differ obviously city to city, but some drive-ins I think are still open.
That's cute. But
So you could-
but if that means you need a car, I don't have a car.
Great. So there's that. But what led me to that was like you could set up like, look, this is stupid, and it comes from like I have a kid, so like we could set up. We have this bus that we put up, so we'll like put a movie on, and you can put the bus, and we pretend it's a drive-in at home. So, but anyway, you can set like you've gone somewhere, and you set up sort of like a fake whatever, and watch a movie together.
But she doesn't want to watch Netflix.
Oh yes, not want to watch Netflix.
Yeah, like because
Great.
you're just going, what are we going to watch tonight? So something different. I think like have it like
I still feel like it's different if you set it up like you're somewhere else.
no, because you're just sitting on your couch.
Yeah, but it
and,
forces you
and
to
I think
pretend like you're in the backseat of a car or something. You got
here's
to
my
huddle
thing.
up, put a blanket on.
Here's the thing. I think when people are like, I want a date night, it means they want to get it in. You want to get it in. You want to feel sassy. You want to feel appreciated. Because like
Great.
if
Paint
you,
lounge and you just wear aprons and that's it. I think that's what Vinny did, right?
oh my God, I can't with you. I feel like, that's why when people go like Valentine's Day is stupid and all this stuff is dumb. I agree, but it's like some people need a day. Some people need to be reminded that they need to appreciate their partner. And so thank God that there are some days put in place, like a Mother's Day or something, for someone to be like, I really value you. So like
What's
a
something
date
that
night
this
for me, this is my preference. I'm not like an events person. Like I'm not going to
okay.
this fucking paint lounge. Absolutely not.
No. So, but what would you do? So this might answer the question. For the night, then you got to take your remote control to your TV and you take your phones and you put them in a drawer and be like, for the next 3 hours, we can't touch these phones. So now what do we do in our house? What are
You,
you going to do?
you have sex. You eat some nice food. You
I
listen to
think you
some
just answered
music.
the question then.
Yeah.
Order pizza, eat it in bed,
Eat it in
have a good
bed.
time.
What the hell are you talking about?
Did I step over a line?
No, I was just like, ew, that'd be so gross. Pick something fancy, Jan says, to make in the kitchen and cook together. I agreed. It's so, for me, that's such a romantic time. A little glass of wine, a recipe, making food together.
Yeah.
Claire says this, so she's showing herself. She says, this was my question, and I actually really love the throw away the remote phones idea. Totally, get them out of there. No one can be on the phone. No one can start a fight by going like, hey, is it annoying when I keep telling you to put your phone away? Get the phone away.
Can you drive somewhere? Like someone go camping in the backyard, Snake King, not a bad idea.
Yeah. Quality time, says Jameson.
There you go. But is it just get in the car, pick a destination and go? Because a lot of people have been doing walks around their place and then you get tired because you're like, we've done this walk 100 fucking
But
times.
can I tell you what would make the walk different? Is a different conversation. Is taking the time during those walks, during that dinner, to have time together where you're like talking about maybe bigger picture stuff in your relationship, things that you appreciate about each other. I think that's why we like date nights, because it's like you go out and you're like you are having wine and there's candlelit and you're just like, oh my God, why don't we ever do this all the time? You're so great. Like, those date night conversations, it's just like, it's hard to have them when you're in the routine of your home.
So maybe going through these 5 things with your partner, because right now we're all talking about it, which doesn't help anybody really. But if you talk directly to your partner about these 5
what's
things,
your love language? What's your thing? Like, I think changing the thing so you're not going,
maybe
oh
learn
my,
something.
yeah. So then you're not sitting on a couch going, what the frick's with David Spade's wig? You're not going to maybe get the sexiness that you're looking for out of a date night. But a road trip would be amazing. Drive-through would be nice. A drive-in movie. But if you can't do that,
with no backyard, but we do have a car. Yeah, you can do that. So like,
but I think if you
Jan Caruana with the win.
treasure hunt, you like shit. You like doing shit.
I love that shit.
I know you do. It's
A
not
scavenger hunt in your house that leads to like, maybe it leads to you in the end. And there you go.
Oh my God. That is something I would not want to participate in, but I would love to hear that story from a friend.
Yeah, sure. We could all watch a movie where that happens and go, that's so romantic. And then you go, but would I do it?
Well, that's like, like the idea of like dating a musician is so fun because you're going to like wake up and they're playing piano, but then sometimes it's also going to include them trying to play Wonderwall on a guitar, and then your vagina is going to escape for the rest of your life. So,
fly away.
yeah. But I think if you change the tone of the date and make it romantic and however that makes you feel. So like, is putting lingerie on something that would like make you feel romantic, or like a little bit of a red lip, or you curled your hair, or you put on that dress that your partner loves or that you love. Just changing the tone, I think, changes the night. I really do.
Yeah. Here's the thing, a question, because like, I'm not going to ask it too much.
What?
Because I know we're probably coming to the end of this.
Yeah.
But you were like, oh, throw on lingerie. What does a guy do?
Exactly. Nothing. Appreciates it.
Can we do?
I know. That's why it was funny because I was talking about this with some friends.
Boxer shorts ain't the answer.
No, boxer shorts, first of all. Oh my God. Full gross underwear. Great. My like relation, when I'm in a relationship with someone, and every man I've ever dated has the same underwear where it's like gray boxer briefs and they're like loose. I'm like, light a fire. Those are dead to me. dead.
Yeah.
But
Um,
I think
I know this is jumping around, but like I just saw in the chat the stargazing thing, and I will
stargazing is
say
nice.
like Jenny and I have done that where we've just grabbed sleeping bags and you kind of like sleep under. You just find a place to lie down in a park, even like for an hour,
It's
and
really
just look
nice.
up, and that's
Totally.
fine.
Yeah, like maybe like go take your car, like go for a little drive and like pull off somewhere and like maybe just lay on the hood of the car and have like a little conversation. But really ultimately it comes down to like dreaming together, like being like, "Oh, you're looking at the stars." And you're like, "Oh, you know, like, I don't know. Does that make sense?"
Yeah.
Have an all-night dance party on the balcony. If you're like Jason, this is Jason's ideal. Getting blasted wasted on your choice of vice and just dancing the night away.
If you can do that with
Amazing.
a partner, that sounds like a pretty great time.
Yeah, 100%. Claire, I hope that helped. And if anyone has any more date ideas, let us know. And also, the person looking to get set up, let us know the qualities and we will match make. And if you guys like this
Yeah.
topic, maybe we'll do this more often. Send us your relationship cues. I liked today's episode. It was very fun.
Yeah. Great
Are
times.
you gonna go tell your wife that you love her very much and that you appreciate her?
And then let's go to the balcony and dance a little bit.
Oh my god, if you do that, I'm gonna barf out my mouth. Are you gonna do that?
No, but you know what? I might do a paint ladder thing.
You should do a paint lounge thing.
I mean, we're in a different stage because like we sleep under a chandelier and we've got a kid around. So like, it's very hard to get quality time. You have to kind of
But I
like
think
wait till
you
he goes
put
to
him to
bed.
bed and you go, you do not come out of your room.
It's
And
not
then
that. Yeah, by the time we're all done, we both go, oh God,
But then you know what you do? You get your ass
a lot
up,
of
you
work.
make her her favorite cocktail, and you go, we're putting on
Oh, I
Bob
do these
Ross,
things.
and
Hmm.
it's paint night, baby. And then
Maybe that's a good thing.
you rip off your regular girls merchandise, and underneath is a corset that is digging into your stomach, and you haven't stopped sucking in for 3 hours. And at dinner, you had to eat salad because you knew you were not going to blow ass in what you had planned later that day.
I got Spanx, you know that.
You got Spanx. I got Spanx too. I'm a two-pairer. It's date night. Oh, that's what's so funny too. I would love to talk about like embarrassing dates because there's nothing worse than going on a date and then being like, "Oh, this is like we're gonna seal this deal," and I'm like, I got like 2.5 pairs of Spanx on right now. And then you're like, I just have to go to the bathroom. And then you're like, where am I going to shove this? Where am I going to hide all these beige accoutrements?
If you're at your own house, you just put them under the sink. But if you're at their house, what do you do?
I've put it under their sink. And then when you're sleeping, I like get my huge purse and go, we'll do embarrassing date stories because that'd be so funny. And if you
Yeah.
want to submit them, submit them anonymously. We won't name your names. And
Shayla's not wrong.
she goes, didn't you guys do a sketch of this? We did. It's called One Afternoon. It's on our YouTube just down below. You can see it. I've attached our sketches, and that is Jason and I on a date. Don't touch my stomach. Don't look at me. And why are the lights on?
And also eating pizza in bed. So
Yeah, but I was even upset when we shot that sketch. We're way over time. This one's a huge honker of an episode.
yeah.
It was so fun. Thank you so much for making this episode, everyone in the chat. Without you, we would not be here, and it's just been so fun. If you're listening to this, you can check out the episode and see some of our new frames. Some will be shown tomorrow too, because we have a guest. Very exciting. And
And
so
tomorrow we got Nigel Downer with his new microphone.
he's got a new mic. I'm so excited. We got him on. He's been playing D&D as Black Ron, so I'll be excited to get the lowdown on
That's
that.
true.
Amanda said such a fun listen. I agree. Today was really fun, and I feel very inspired. I hope everyone just like gets down to the nasty tonight. Go have sex with the one you love. And so maybe someone will break up, and you're welcome. Whatever we've set in motion, may it be in motion. You can follow us at The Regulars Pod. Send us all of your DMs and we will keep them anonymous. And Jason, is there anything else that you want to say?
No, I think that covers everything, guys. And
Amazing.
We'll see you tomorrow.
We will
for Last
see you
Dance.
tomorrow. Bye, everyone.
Bye.